Welcome to A&A Tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to use ceramic dams to do a pot melt with glass. I like this technique because I don't have to worry about getting kiln wash or Kaiser Lee board over my glass, so it seems to work nicely. Let's get started. Okay, these are the materials we're going to use for our first pot melt. We're going to use a pot, and I have drilled. It came with a single hole in the middle, and I have drilled a couple more holes so that it will leak out a little bit faster when we melt it. So that's what we're going to use for the pot. I'm going to use chunk glass on this particular project. Each of these pieces were broken off something that was that we were making, and they're, as you can see, pretty good chunks of glass, and we're going to use that to put in the pot. And then we're going to actually use some 6-inch ceramic dams, and we'll use those to block up and make us a piece of glass about 1 inch thick and 6 inches by 4 inches area, and we'll show you how to do that. Alright, I've placed the chunks of glass inside the flower pot, so they're ready to go. The next step is to try and get the dams ready to go. Let me set the flower pot aside here, and we're going to put 1/32 fiber paper on the dams, and I have cut that paper to be 2 inches wide so that it fits the dams. But I want you to notice, and let me just back off a little bit here, that the paper on 2 of them is actually wider than the dam itself, whereas on the other one it's the exact size. The reason for that is that I want these to be folded over so that when the dams touch each other, I actually have fiber paper against fiber paper. I want to be very careful that I don't have any place where the ceramic dam can touch the glass and the glass can stick to the dam. So I'm going to make sure it's covered very well with this fiber paper. So let's go about and see how we do that. We're simply going to take a little bit of Elmer's glue. I'm going to take the lid off, make it a little bit easier for me to work with. Set that over here. We're going to take a little bit of Elmer's glue. It doesn't take a lot. Going to make sure I get a little on the ends over here, because that's definitely where it's going to fold around. So we want to make it on there, a little bit on in the middle, and just spread it out a little bit. Then we'll take it and lay it against the bottom edge, about equally spaced against the bottom, like that, so we have a nice fit against the bottom. Fold the ends over, and that way we'll get just a little glue on those ends to hold that down, so that when we make the other ones and fold into that, we'll have fiber paper against fiber paper. So that's the process. We'll go ahead and finish those up and get the dams ready. Some of you may want to know how to make the calculations for pot melt glass. How much glass should you use for what volume? So we'll give you that. Get yourself a pencil. It's important that you can calculate the weight of the glass and how much volume that will give you, or otherwise it may spill over your dams and ruin your shelf or even ruin your kiln. So get a pencil and we'll give you we'll show you how we did that. This is how we know what volume you will get from a certain weight of glass. 1 cubic inch of glass weighs about 1.5 ounces. Therefore, weigh the glass that you're going to melt, divide that weight by 1.5, and what you'll get is the cubic inches of glass you'll pour. For example, in my case, I had glass that weighed 41.6 ounces. When I divide that by 1.5, I get 27.73 cubic inches. If I take an area 6 inches by 4 inches and then 1 inch thick to make it a volume, 6 times 4 is 24, times 1 is still 24, so it's 24 cubic inches. Therefore, my 27.73 cubic inches is going to make a little more than 1 inch in a 6x4 rectangle. So if I use dams that are 1 inches wide and 2 inches high, I'll be plenty safe. Look on the right hand side and we can see that by using 4 pieces 6 inches, that I actually get the inside area of that rectangle to be 6x4. Since it's 2 inches high, I have no problem pouring something that's going to be a little more than 1 inch. So use those formulas to make your calculations. As you can see, we have the dams with the 1/32 fiber paper ready to go. It gives us total fiber paper inside the dam. When I pull it away, you can see on the ends that we have the fiber paper. So it's going to be fiber paper against fiber paper. Now when we put it in the kiln, we'll also make sure that we have a piece of fiber paper the size of the bottom so that it sits on fiber paper as well. So we'll set it up in the kiln and we'll be ready to fire. Okay, we're in the kiln getting ready to fire. There's a couple notes of interest. Number one, I've used some extra rails across it to be able to set the pot on. I wanted to make sure that the holes lined up on the bottom go down the center of those 2 rails so that the glass will melt down to the center. I've put the 1/32 fiber paper underneath, plus all the walls have it on. Lastly, I've actually tied a copper wire around the ceramic dams just as a safety factor to try and hold them together. Copper melts at about a little higher than 1900 degrees Fahrenheit, so since we're only going to around 1600, we shouldn't have any problem with the copper wire. So we're ready to fire and we'll see what it looks like when we take it out. All right, the kiln's cooled down, so let's take a look and see what we can see. Flower pot is still in there. Okay, there was a little, you see the pot is fairly emptied fairly well, but there were a couple little stringers onto the pot that did go down into the glass. Let's take off the rails here and see what we have. Okay, the colors are very nice. The copper expanded and actually dropped down a little, but it looks like things are pretty well. Take away the, okay, we've all the ceramic dams away now. Now we can peel off the paper and take a look at what we have here. Okay, fairly nice piece. It's a little more than 1 inch thick. Has one piece that's going up, and that's so thin that I think we can take that off of there without any problem. There's not too many bubbles. A few have come to the top. Fairly nice pattern on the glass, and it will be interesting. We'll clean it up and take a look at it and see what it looks like when it's clean. Alright, let's take a look at the piece once it's been cleaned up. So here's the top and the sides, which vary. As we go around, we can see that the sides vary. And then the bottom itself, which is quite a bit different again than the top. So quite a few different patterns. We can use this for slices. We could use this as a solid piece. We might want to take parts of it and then fire polish the edges, do something with it. Whatever, this is the way to make a solid block of glass, about 1 inch thick, about 6x4. Well, that concludes our circular dam pot melt. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you at the next tutorial.